What is up? Jared Nelson here, Josh Presbitero there. How you doing, Josh?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Jared?
I am doing great as well. What are we doing here, Josh?
So, first of all, very excited. We are taping, shooting, whatever. I think it's a combination of both. We are shooting and taping our very first episode of the Heatcast, which is a podcast dedicated for Minnesota Heat-related news and items.
Very cool. So what about you, Josh? What are you in the grand Minnesota Heat ecosystem?
People like to call me as Willie's right-hand guy, so we'll go with that. I am in charge of the business side of things, so make sure the Heat is functioning well on the backside. Just thinking of new initiatives to get more people involved in the program and make sure we have a good image out there.
Love that. Speaking of image, that's kind of my role with the Heat. I do the marketing, so social media, emails, even getting in the gym. Both Josh and I have coached many years. We both played with that Heat on our chest. So love the brand, love what we got cooking here, and are excited to bring the people a little more news, a little more life to what we got cooking with Minnesota Heat. So. What are we going to go through today, Josh?
We just wanted to touch base on, with rosters posting last week, we just wanted to touch base on the state of the program, how many teams we ended up with. We're also going to talk about the new initiatives we have, the Minnesota Heat Alliance. We're also going to talk about our push for more social media engagement. And then big tournament this weekend. We have the Comets Shoot Out for a few of our teams. So we will talk about the teams that are going to be in it and some players to watch out for.
Love that. So let's jump right in. 2019 season here, tipping off. What's new for Minnesota Heat? What do the people need to know?
I love it. So last week, roster posting, we are officially over 100 teams again for 3 years,
Awesome.
Third year in a row. So we're really excited. Our girls teams are up. We're up 2 teams, so we're up to 21 teams now. Big shout out to Kelly Lund and Bill Hank for doing a tremendous job recruiting girls on that side. Boys teams are still over 80. That can be attributed to Willie Vang, obviously the president, the face of the program, and also Weeby McDonald, who we brought on this year as kind of our director of player personnel. So all of those guys on the girls and the boys side have done a tremendous job of getting the word out there, making sure we get players filtering into our system.
Yeah, so in addition, obviously, Willie, Weeby, Bill, Kelly, getting more players kind of under the Heat umbrella. Well, what is this new alliance program you alluded to? Like, how does that work in terms of growing the brand, getting more players kind of playing in Heat jerseys on weekends?
Sure. So the Minnesota Heat is based out of the North Metro. And it's such a small niche for us that the idea is to expand. So what the alliance is we're offering groups, traveling teams who may be from the south side or the east or the west, the opportunity to play under the Heat umbrella, but kind of play in their own backyard. So they don't have to worry about driving 30 minutes to practice. The idea here is they can use their own gym time, have their own group, have their own coach, just wear our jerseys and have us take care of all the clerical work.
Yeah, awesome. No, it's I remember, years ago, you only had such limited options on where to play based on the geography you were from.
Right.
And now it's a ton of fun to see teams popping up all over and giving kids an opportunity all over the state, really. As long as you can get 7, 8 kids, that's enough for a team, and even less than that in a lot of cases. So,
yeah, it's actually, this year it's off to a good start, being that it's our inaugural year for the Alliance. We have a group coming out of Stewartville.
Awesome.
We have an Alliance team out of there. We have a couple coming out of the East Metro. So next up, I guess, is the South. So
there you go.
Any South groups out there, hey, pick up that phone and give us a shout.
Yeah, that's big time. So take me through it now with putting together 100 teams. That all kind of starts in the tryout process, correct? So take me through tryout weekend or weekends, I should say. Like
Sure.
How is that set up? Like what does it look like with being there, boots on the ground?
Yeah, so tryouts this year was a little bit different because in the past we've always used paper registrations. Parents had to show up, fill out paper registrations, and turn it in to us. Now this year we transitioned into going electronic. So we're going paperless for once. And I think this year's process was smooth. parents were encouraged to do the work ahead of time, so that way they can just show up to tryouts and get their tryout jersey and head in the gym. Otherwise, we had different registration banks set up for parents that still needed to get that done. But as far as the operations itself, it was a massive operations. Our tryout evaluators, at one point we were at 14 coaches in the gym. Our largest was at 110 players.
Wow.
In one session. So it was huge. Had to use 4 different courts for it. But that's the exciting part. That's the fun part about about the gig is, as we say, kind of doing the unthinkable, doing the impossible. So it was fun being able to make it happen, make it work, and make it look seamless.
Right,
so.
right. Well, and I mean, that many players, and that's kind of, I mean, Heat is obviously has gotten to a scale where it's extending over cities and regions, and like the geography's gotten so big, it allows to get more people in the gym and brush shoulders with more people and learn from more people. And I mean, at the end of the day, I know like anyone you talk to who's been in the Heat for a while is going to talk about those relationships.
Right.
And
right.
that's to me, I hear 100 kids in the gym, like that's like potential for a lot of kids to brush shoulders with each other and make friends, build relationships. 14 coaches on the sidelines. Like I'm sure, that was not their first time stepping in the gym affiliated with Minnesota Heat. Like people coming back, people getting involved. So it's a ton of fun to see, people getting goals, good relationships, just the groundwork laid, and then continuing to come back to support and invest and continue to help grow the program in that way.
Right. And I think it's not just about the Heat. Now, I want to say that I think that's just in general for AAU programs, as far as maintaining that relationships with former players. The one thing I will say about the Heat being that we're, that's our brand, is that we have had a lot of former players turn coaches. I was a former player turned coach.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty as charged, right? And both of us here. So I will definitely say that the relationship that we've built just by being a part of the program is huge, and that's something that we always preach to everyone that comes through. So those are kind of the big things that have taken place the last couple of weeks. So now that we've posted rosters, we got the information out to our coaches. It's about now just communicating to the team and getting this show on the road. Right.
So tryouts a couple weeks back, or probably almost a month ago now. Take a little time to get the team formation process done. Usually a week or two of practice, and then it's kind of the in Minnesota, what it's grown to become is the official start of the spring season in St. Cloud.
Correct.
A ton of fun. If you've never been to Whitney Rec Center, that second, third week of April, it's a sight to behold. It's a blast up there. So you'll be heading up to St. Cloud for the Comets invite?
Yes, sir. My own team will actually be there. But obviously, even if my team was not playing, I always make it an effort to go up there. It's just a fun environment. First of all, a lot of college coaches. Big shout out to Chris Lewis of the Comets for always putting on a good tournament. But a lot of college coaches, a lot of the local hoop heads, Jared Martinson of Prep Hoops, Dazar, Ryan James. The list goes on. So it's just a fun event to kick off the AAU season.
For sure. No, and the Heat is always well represented with teams, hopefully playing deep into Sunday. So what do you got your eye out for there? Obviously Heat Presby. In addition to Heat Presby, what other things should people be keeping an eye on?
For sure. So starting on the boys side, we do have a few teams in that 15U division. So we have our Pentagon team, who is Heat McDonald. Very, very excited about this team. This team is massive. If you go back to the Heat Twitter, I think there was a roster release there listing their size. We're talking about their shortest kid being 6'3".
Yeah.
So
as a 15U group too. I mean,
that's massive. And Weeby does a tremendous job with the kids, obviously, having coached a group last year of 17U guys that performed well on the national level. And a lot of those guys are going to continue on to play their basketball careers in college. But he will do a great job with this 15U group. Outside of him, we also have our Heat Grow group. Kevin Grow, former Centennial alum, just like you.
Centennial, go Cougars.
Carleton.
Yeah.
It was a stud at Carleton.
Big time. highly decorated career for the Knights.
Oh, of course, and now he's working for Prep Hoops.
Yeah.
So, Coach Groh is very impressive. Comes obviously with tremendous background in basketball. So we're excited with the group that he has. Got a couple of twins, got a kid from Chanhassen that we're excited about. So we'll see how they perform. I think the expectations are pretty high, and I think that's something that they can certainly attain. And then we also have Heat Unger, who returns, a kid from Mounds View, Ryan Edelman. Got some Forsyth kids, some Coon Rapids kids. So that's going to be a group that has played together for a while now and are sticking together. So there's something to be said about that cohesion.
For sure. Yeah, no doubt, man. You could tell, especially first tournament, what a difference that makes.
Right.
Just having a team that's done it before. I mean, most of these teams are coming in with a week or two of practice, maybe 1 week of practice in an open gym. Especially when kids are coming from far away. Those first couple games on Friday and Saturday. It's just Saturday actually is when things tip off.
Yeah, Saturday is when things tip off.
But it can be pretty ugly as people are feeling each other out. So it'll be watch out for Heat Unger having a little cohesion.
Speaking of cohesion, last year I think I remember Heat Nelson taking it, going wire to wire with the very, very good D1 team that featured 8 D1 players.
Yeah, it was.
So
the cohesion helped there. I think staying connected. That was one of my fondest St. Cloud memories for sure.
Those sliced fat calls really paid off last year, I think.
we made a nice run there. Unfortunately, ran out of steam down the second half against that crew. So. What about the 16U group?
16s is deep. So we are sending 4 teams total, which is highlighted by a group, Heat Tower.
Yeah. I
mean, where do we even begin? So Heat Tower features the 2 Wasika kids that played in the state tournament, guard Andrew Default, and the behemoth down low, Andrew Morgan.
Yeah,
So
he's a monster, man. I loved watching him at state, and when Willie told me he was playing Heat this year, I about jumped out of my seat.
This team is scary to look at on paper. Outside of those 2 Wasika kids, you still have Will Teixeira from Stewartville.
Oh yeah,
another 6'8" stud. Those 2.
Longstreet from Delano.
You can't forget about Carter Weirkey from Totino Grace, obviously. Sure. Nolan Reuter from Albany, and we still have Thomas that plays for Eastridge, and Coach Towers' kid.
Yeah, Jack.
Max Beck, another Totino Grace kid. So this team is deep and long. They're gonna be a tough out for whatever tournament they play in.
Yeah.
And I will say this is Spice, I think.
Oh, Spice.
We have Spice. We have our first Spice of the day.
On the Heat cast.
I think they're top 3 in the state, if not 2.
Yeah.
I mean, D1 is the cream of the crop. I think everyone knows that, but give me Heat Tower after that.
I love it. No, you heard it here first on the Heat cast. So I fully expect Heat Tower playing deep into Sunday throughout the spring and summer. I mean, these guys,
for sure.
Again, you talk about cohesion. They bring back almost their entire crew from last year. They add some really nice pieces there. Obviously, Coach Tower and his pedigree speaks for itself.
Yeah,
he's going to get those guys doing the right things, and just names up and down there that that continue to come up and for good reason. So awesome, man. What else we got?
So in the 16s, we also have Heat Johnson, who added quite a bit of guys. So they retained Mac Lochner from Woodbury, starter all year, also an all-conference award getter for Suburban East. They also keep Jasper Liu from Blake, who's an all-conference as well, all-conference player. They added Cade Skelly, who is a rotation player for a Spring Lake Park team that was impressive this year. Cade Skelly, Poles from Spring Lake Park. They added Owen from Wisconsin. Owen Anderson, I believe, is the name. So they added him. He averaged double digits for his team during the winter. And then the rest of the roster goes Chasen Livingston from Totino Grace, who's a hound on the defensive end. And, along with the coaching that they have, Sam Johnson, a terrific coach.
Yeah, love Sam.
He's got that background helping out with the St. John's University basketball team. So they're always going to come up with new ways and have coaching adjustments throughout the game. So really excited for this group as well. Really excited. After him, we have Heat Wiley.
Jermaine
and Coach O.
Cannot forget about Coach O.
Shout out. This team last year won the SPBL, so that's the secondary Pentagon League. So they had a very, very successful year. They bring back Andy Tran from Maple Grove. Evan Kim, they bring back, who was a varsity rotation player for Mounds View.
Right.
Those are some notable names, but outside of those two, they added Caden Betcher.
There you go.
Who started for Maple Grove as a state tournament participant.
Yeah.
So
it's big time.
That's a huge time get. They added Larmuth, I think that's how you say his name, from Maple Grove as well. Terrence. So we this 16s group, Tower is impressive. We all know that, but I think there's plenty of depth there.
Oh, well, and I mean, it's that's the piece. You talked about Sam Johnson coming in with pedigree. He's coached before, on staff at St. John's as a student assistant. And then, Wiley and O have been doing this forever. They may not have like the name recognition that some of the guys on Tower has. But those guys, they're going to play hard.
Right.
They're going to talk on defense. They're going to get on the floor after loose balls. They're going to hit the boards hard. Like, what you're getting with teams coached by Wiley and O. And I love watching those guys play, hearing Coach O's voice booming from a few courts away. There is nothing better than that. So that is that's a really fun group of 16U squads headed up to St. Cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we definitely want to see. I mean, I think Tower plays at 9-10 Whitney Rec. So for those that are trying to catch those teams to play, I think Coach Tower 9-10 Whitney Rec main court. And then
main court.
Sam Johnson plays after that, same court as well, main court. So
turn up the lights.
Heat Wiley 9-10, I believe at Sauk Rapids Middle School. So just some notable game times, which then takes us to
the big crew.
The big dogs.
Yeah. What do we got? What do I need to know?
Well, this year we are headlined by the return of Willie Vang on the sidelines.
To the sidelines.
Yeah, so Willie Vang is coaching our Pentagon 17U team along with Connor Nord. So I think it's important we spend some time and talk about that. The last time those two coached together was group with Chase Grindy, Sean Sullivan, and we all know they went to the state tournament. Lost to Kalman, but that was a team that I think is well regarded as one of the better coached teams in the circuit. So I think it's important to note that Willie Vang and Connor Nord are back in business. Yeah. They have they added Josh Brown from Park Center, who I think is going to be one of the biggest sleepers out there in the game. So he plays for Park Center. He was a rotation player. He's a name that could potentially be on everyone's radar.
Love colleges. That. No, I love hearing that. Who are the sleepers? Who are the names to know? Who are the up-and-comers? Big prep hoops guy myself. Want to know like who are the guys that it's every. I always think back that the first name I remember as this kid was JP McCura. Right. And obviously that's to a degree where he ended up as like he's in the NBA. But every year it's a kid who you never heard of who becomes a super hot Division III target. Or a kid who you like, he's a nice D3 target, and he ends up just getting a bunch of NSIC looks, stuff like that. And so that's a good one, Josh Brown from Park Center. Just Josh Brown, who's you're going to see his name on social media. You're going to see a lot of articles about him, stuff like that. As a riser, as a sleeper, as someone who's making a name for himself. Most certainly, Josh Brown, and then the rest of the roster. They retained 3 of the guys from last year, or I should say 4. The duo from Champlain Park, TJ Moberg, as well as Jared Walter, both players. Jared Walter was a full-time varsity player this year, part of the rotation. TJ was inserted into the rotation towards the back end of the year. So, we all know how good Champlain Park is. So, anyone to crack that rotation is notable. Well, anytime. And that's something that I think it helps drawing from some of these bigger, especially northwest suburbs, those high schools. You just know, like, these kids coming from Maple Grove, like they're getting state tournament experience year after year. Champlain Park, same thing. These guys are always in the mix. They're well coached. They're competing in practice. So you see rosters like that are filled out with kids who've been coached before. I mean, it bodes well for playing a style of basketball that's good for, moving the ball defensively, getting after rebounds, talking. And that's fun to see. And you see that all up and down Heat rosters, and not that, if you playing for a small school is necessarily like a disadvantage. But I always, it makes me feel good seeing that, and couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and that's going to be the identity of we'll finish the roster out in a bit, but that's going to be the identity of this team. Heat Vang is they're going to be that gritty, hard-nosed team. You might get games in the 30s, but I think that's just how they want it. They have a bunch of guys that are fine with getting those quote-unquote ugly wins, but as long as they get the job done, that's all that matters. Another player that falls under that gritty type of the gritty player, as they say, is Micah Ladd. So we all know Micah Ladd. This is his second go-around in 17U. He was with Heat Henderson last year.
Yeah.
As a sophomore last year. So he's playing 17U again, this time with Heat Vang, and he had an impressive year for Cambridge Asante, another state tournament participant. So he had some big games for them, had some 20-point games. So really good shooter, really good leader. Defensively is a hound.
Just plays his butt off, man. Playing under Coach McDonald like that, he's getting after it defensively and hustling his tail off.
Always in the right spots. They also keep Tate Nelson from St. Anthony, who this year I think scored his 1,000 points. So congratulations, Tate. They keep Tate, another one of those guys. So Tate Nelson reminds me of Jake Nubb.
Yeah.
From East Ridge. You look at a guy like Tate, I think he's 5'10" on a good day. You see him and you think to yourself, this guy cannot be good. But next thing you know, you check the box score, there's 20 points under Tate Nelson. So Tate's one of those guys, really, really impressed with Tate's game. Love his game. He's a good leader. He's Jake Nubb, and he's also kind of got that Chris Paul to him where he can get under your skin and get the job done. They also added Iggy Ejiofor out of Irondale. Super athlete, jumps out of the building. Dador Phillips, a starter for Spring Lake Park. They bring him back. Jared Doffing from Wisconsin, Prescott, Wisconsin, they add into the mix. He's a 6'8", versatile post. And I am missing one more, I think.
No, I think you got him.
I hit on all of them.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a team of 8, and that's certainly going to be a team to look out for. So watch out, world.
Watch out, world. Okay, round us off here. 17U, you got Presby and West.
Heat Presby and Heat West. We'll talk about Heat West here. We got to save the best for last. No, just kidding. Let's talk about Heat West. This is another one of those teams that played in the SPBL last year along with Heat Wiley and saw plenty of success. So the core of this group is staying intact. This group is headlined by the two Austin kids, Agua Naiwesh and Moses Idris, state tournament participants.
Right.
I should add. So it's headlined by those two. They also have Hezekiah from Armstrong, who's a starter. A team that beat Park Center. I might add.
People forget.
I don't. They bring those three back. Ricky Emmerich from Centennial. He comes back in the mix as well. And Morgan Culhane from St. Michael, Albertville. They add some new pieces. They added Hunter Burgess from Bloomington Jefferson, who played with another Heat team last year. So he's hopping on a new Heat squad this year. Lefty, big guard. I think he's 6'3". Good shooter. He's a downhill player. He finishes well around the basket. So I'm excited for Heat West adding this talent. Thomas Gebhardt from Moundsview. He's a 6'4" wing. I want to say he was the leading scorer of the team this year.
Shooter from the outside.
Consistent.
Yeah.
A consistent shooter. Nice length. Nice length for a player like him. And they also added Esse Hagos from Concordia Academy, who is the leading scorer amidst all the seniors that they have. So this team is going to be athletic. They're going to run up and down. They're going to hound you defensively. And we're excited to see how they fare.
No doubt, man. All right. Take us home.
So
Heat Prez.
We'll talk about Heat Prez. Yeah, I'm really excited about the team that we have this year. It's a pretty big turnover, I should say, with the roster. We added quite a bit of kids. Got a kid from De La Salle, Matt Seawood. So excited to coach a player with such pedigree. Bringing along Cristo Polidoro from Minneapolis Southwest, who is a double-digit scorer, average 15 a game for them. Also adding Gunnar Reed from Lewiston Altura, who was named in the All-Winona area team in the last week. So congratulations, Gunnar. That's an impressive list to be a part of. Adding Jacob Say, starter for Spring Lake Park. Nels Berkland, Walker Johnson out of Benilde St. Margaret, team that upset Cooper in sections. Good wings, smart players, tough shooters. They're good. They're great ads. Zach Doley for St. Croix Prep, who played well against Minnehaha in the section final. So he's 6'6" post. Sean Bergstrom, player from Maple Grove, starting center for them. Really excited. Again, talking about the pedigree. There's nothing else that needs to be added, I don't think. Mateo Renta played for Hudson. It falls in in that gritty, get up in your face.
Certainly, those Hudson kids, man. Every year it seems like that one or two Hudson kids on a Heat squad, and every year they're impressive. Yeah,
they just churn those guys out like left and right. So I mean,
you're not gonna forget my guy Riley. No, Riley O'Connor.
Rock. No, I wasn't gonna forget about Rock. Rock, he's another one of those sleepers, in my opinion. Played for Minnetonka this year. I mean, we all know Minnetonka, Steele, Gavin Patton. They had a lot of big names this year, and I think Riley, even though he was a starter, I think he kind of got lost in the mix. This year, I think playing in a system like ours, free-flowing Bethel, double gaps. I think he could open some eyes.
For sure. For sure, man. No, he definitely, I call it the airport test, right? You see a kid walking through an airport and you're like, man, he's going to be good. Like, I think Riley passes that test. He's long, broad shoulders, moves really well, for his size, and tough matchup on the perimeter. Got a shot that he's confident in and goes in. So, definitely a good pick for a riser.
Certainly.
For sure, man. This is outstanding. I can't wait already. St. Cloud, Comets invite, Whitney Rec Center, Sauk Rapids Middle School. It's coming.
It's we have this circled in our calendars. So we're all excited. I think all the Heat teams that are going down to St. Cloud this weekend, or going up to St. Cloud, I should say, I think they're going to represent the brand well. On the girls' side, we also have some teams coming down like Heat Bang, Heat Hank. So we're well represented. For the viewers out there or the listeners, I mean, feel free to say hi. We'd love to engage with our consumers out there. And I know that's like a big push this year. And you'll notice that in our social media, Jared Nelson here has done a tremendous job as far as engaging the public. So we'd love that across the board, not just with Jared, but with Willie, with myself, and other Heat coaches as well. So
for sure. That's definitely the truth, fam. If you guys see us in the gym, come up and say what's up. It's a ton of fun. Like we mentioned at the beginning, it's all about the relationships and the people you're meeting along the way, brushing shoulders with, and forging bonds with. So definitely come find Josh, come find me at Minnesota Heat on Twitter, and we'll be back all year long. What do you got, Josh? Take the people out.
Thanks all for listening. Don't forget to hit that subscribe on iTunes, on YouTube. Actually, this is being recorded, like I said, videotape. So check us out on YouTube. Check us out on your iTunes store podcast, and hit that subscribe. But we're excited. Expect us to release a content every week or every 2 weeks, and we'll bring more spice in the future.
Let's do it. Awesome. Thanks all. We will we'll see you soon. Go Heat.
We'll see you at Comets. See ya.